Hey, Astro Kids, and welcome back. And in today's video, we'll be talking about the conjunction of Sun, Moon, and Saturn. So, first of all, what do you need to understand this conjunction? What's very important to see the sign placement, to see what element this is placed in, becomes extremely important. You also want to see the house placement of this conjunction as well. Any aspects or conjunctions from other planets will also make a difference in this. So, what does the sun represent? The sun represents the soul, the personality. It is the true self, the higher self, our connection with spirituality. The sun also represents our connection with father figures, with authority, the government. It is all about our ability to rise in power and success. And so it has a lot to do with our career, with our reputation, how we are seen in the public. The sun also has to do with our confidence, our self esteem, with health, vitality. The moon represents the mind. It is all about our thoughts, feelings, reactions, responses, the way that we perceive the world around us. The moon has a lot to do with our early childhood experience, how we were raised and brought up, the values that were instilled in us. It also has to do with the stability and peace of the mind as well. Saturn is a planet of obstacles, delays, frustrations. It shows our weak areas, the areas that we need to work on in this lifetime. And so it is connected with our past karmas, with our actions of past life experience. Saturn is a planet of hard work and perseverance. It is where we put forth our efforts. It also represents diseases, accidents, any sort of obstacles and challenges in our lives that we have to overcome. Saturn has a lot to do with anxiety, with fears, phobias. And Saturn is all about restriction, limitation, discipline, keeping things in a very structured and organized way. Saturn represents any sort of criticism, self criticism. Again, all of these obstacles that get in our way that we have to overcome in this lifetime. So, what happens then when the Sun, Moon, and Saturn come into a conjunction? Well, this is a very challenging conjunction because Sun and Moon have a lot to do with our parents, with our family, how we were brought up. And Saturn, once again, is a very challenging planet, very strict, very disciplined. So, especially if the moon is in the middle of the sun and Saturn, it can cause some difficulty. This is like a pop cartery effect, where it can give you some feeling of stress and frustration. There can actually be a feeling of repression coming in with this as well, where there is some fear of expressing yourself fully until you have reached a certain age with this conjunction. In general, this conjunction can give you some fears, phobias in life. There can be some self criticism, criticism coming from the family, criticism coming from yourself. A feeling of restriction in some way with this conjunction can come into the picture. There may be some criticism and humiliation. The family may be very strict, very disciplined, very orderly, where there is a difficult time with expressing yourself or having things in the way that you would want them to. And this can oftentimes create distance with the family as well. So there may be a feeling of wanting to get away from the family at a certain age with this position, depending upon how this is placed in the chart. So typically, there is a tendency to move away from the family when you have this conjunction. This definitely makes you want to be independent, to be self reliant. Again, because Saturn is all about discipline, hard work, responsibility. So this makes you someone who wants to, again, break away from the family and take your own path in life. If the Sun and Saturn are close together in conjunction, it especially can give you a very hard time dealing with authoritative figures at a younger age. So, dealing with the boss, dealing with government authority with this placement can be very tricky. There can be all sorts of conflicts, power struggles happening with this placement. At the same time, it can make you, again, very disciplined, very hardworking, and very integral as well. You have huge honesty. You are all about keeping your word when you have this placement. And the older that you get with this can actually take you into a position of authority yourself as well. If the moon and Saturn are particularly close in conjunction, there can be some challenges psychologically with this placement. Again, bringing in those fears, phobias very strongly, some emotional issues coming in. There can even be some issues in relationship with the mother as well. But it can also make you someone who's very diplomatic, very skilled at mediation. This placement definitely can indicate that your parents are very conservative, again, very strict in their views, very disciplined in their approach to parenting. Sometimes it can also indicate that the parents had you very late in life, or there's something very mature about their mindset. So they have this very old and wise energy about them. The parents can be into government work or into any kind of service related fields, very hardworking and dedicated individuals. And again, this can make you someone who's very hardworking as well. But there can be some great frustration in this relationship with the parents as you feel restricted in this, especially if this is not well placed in the chart. If this is exalted in Libra with Saturn there, then you can appreciate some of this discipline and strictness coming from the parents sometimes with this placement. Again, you want to see what is the condition of all of these planets. Check to see if there's any combustion in this. This will definitely make a difference. Sometimes this also can give you a very limited perspective. Again, particularly if you have this very close to Saturn with the moon, this can give you a very limited way of thinking and perceiving life, where you want to take an approach that is more limited, more restricted in life, pursuing something that is just ordinary with this placement, not necessarily thinking too much outside the box. If this is debilitated, sometimes this can also indicate that there was some kind of domestic abuse or some kind of negative energy, especially early on in life with this, because this is where Saturn falls weak here in the sign of Aries, a very aggressive sign. So again, you want to check to see where is everything placed. Check to see where Mars is if this is a debilitated Saturn. Sometimes there can also be a sense of laziness or inactivity with this. Saturn's a very slow moving planet. So again, you want to check to see how is this placed in the chart. If this is a slow moving sign, then this can definitely slow down some of this energy. There can be even a feeling of loss of energy, loss of motivation with this, where you exert so much effort in this. And there is a struggle with moving forward sometimes coming into this conjunction. You also want to check to see what planet is at the lowest degree. Which of these planets really hold the strongest dignity in the chart? This becomes extremely important. If the sun is holding the lowest degree in this chart, then the father can be the one who is implementing all of these rules and strict principles very strongly in your life. So you may have a very strong connection with the father for good or for worse. But with this placement, you try to make peace with the father or to make peace with authoritative figures. If the moon is holding the lowest degree, then again, this is going to bring in those difficulties with emotions, with all sorts of fears, phobias, obstacles in the mind. And this is particularly true if Saturn is very close in conjunction with this moon. But again, this can give you a very strong connection with the mother, and you can find yourself wanting to make peace with the mother, being someone who's very diplomatic, very much oriented towards trying to fix problems to make things work. If Saturn is holding the lowest degree, then this can give you a very hard time with the parents. This is where, again, you become extremely independent, wanting to break free from the grip of the parents. This can make you a very hardworking individual where no criticism or humiliation can stop you from moving in this direction of achieving your goals. You are wanting to move away from the views of the parents and to develop your own way of seeing things with this conjunction. So, very challenging position with this conjunction, no matter how this is placed in the chart. But ultimately, Saturn helps to give you that perseverance, that drive to push forward in life. So, this is something that tends to get better with time and experience, depending upon, again, how this is placed in your chart. So I hope you all enjoyed this. If you like this, don't forget to leave a like. If you're new to this channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and I will see you all in the next video.